they say that, well, Hizb Ut-Tahrir members, they were chanting jihad, jihad, jihad. Now, jihad, we see it in the Quran. Yeah, Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned jihad so many times in the Quran, whether jihad as a resistance, as a physical resistance, or jihad with thoughts, but the word jihad is a legitimate Islamic term.
The next question, Sheikh, is that the government is set to prescribe Hizb Ut-Tahrir as a terrorist organization. Can you give us some comments about this?
Yeah, okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. I have actually 3 or 4 comments on that. Yeah, let us start. So the first one is, this is a very dangerous precedent. Why? Because we don't see a legal due process. And you know, it is even a British value to follow the rule of law. So where is the rule of law here? Where is the legal due process? Have they held Hizb Ut-Tahrir accountable before a court, and they accuse them of what they accuse them, and then they listen to the defense of Hizb Ut-Tahrir? This should be the case. And I remember mentioning many times that proscribing an organization internationally as a terrorist organization should not be politicized. Otherwise, governments, states will use this as a weapon against any group that dissents to what they say, or disagrees to what they say, or oppose them. And this leads to kind of political dictatorship, which many governments would like to see. So this is the first point. Where is the legal due process to ban them? Hizb Ut-Tahrir, we know that Hizb Ut-Tahrir is the same as Hizb Ut-Tahrir 20 years ago, and there were, or maybe more than that. Of course, you might disagree as an individual. We might disagree with their tactics, with some of their views, with some of their statements, but that doesn't mean that they should be proscribed as a terrorist organization, because a terrorist organization has so many consequences. Even ethically, it has so many organizations. And imagine you call someone, oh, you belong to a terrorist organization, you are a terrorist individual. This is a big thing. It's not a small thing, let alone the legal consequences on that. And that, you know, brings the can of, opens the can of worms regarding the government's legislation regarding terrorism. Has it been subject to a legal due process? And many people, many commentators have suggested that the whole thing should be reviewed because it has been heavily politicized. So this is one thing. By the way, I was saying that Hizb Ut-Tahrir is the same, that, 20, 30 years ago. And David Cameron, he was the first one to, as far as I remember, to suggest banning Hizb Ut-Tahrir. And he could not do so because there is not enough legal ground. As far as I remember, also the previous Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, she also wanted to do that, but she couldn't do so. And
Tony Blair wanted to ban them as well.
Tony Blair. Tony Blair it's true. Tony Blair, even before David Cameron. But now we see that they have rushed it, and they will put it before the parliament in just a matter of few days just to ban them, which you can see that there is a political motivation behind that. Okay. The second point, see, if they manage to do that, then what does that mean? It means that they are infringing on a very basic right British citizens already have, and they are trying to limit this right, which is freedom of speech. Yes, we agree that certain elements of freedom of speech should be controlled, limited, but that doesn't mean that you criminalize anyone who is observing freedom of speech as far as he did not incite a criminal offense, or he is promoting crimes, okay? So, or let alone, of course, infringing the rights of others and putting others in danger or humiliating other people. So we agree that there are limitations, but if you just criminalize someone because of the freedom of speech that they are enjoying, then this will set a precedent for the government and will pave the way for the government to stop any other group that they disagree with. And this will lead to maybe criminalizing thoughts, okay? And it will lead to what they call as the thought policing, because Hizb Ut-Tahrir, we know, according to their policies that they've been stressing on for a long time, they say that they are a non-violent organization. They don't endorse terrorism. They don't endorse violence. They keep saying this, and they are willing to go into intellectual debates, political debates, etc. You might disagree with them, you might not like them, but you should not go that far to criminalizing them or calling them or proscribing them as a terrorist group. Now, see, the government claims that they, Hizb Ut-Tahrir, they endorse terrorism by glorifying the Hamas and saying that the Hamas people, they were heroes, or those who were involved in October 7th, attacked Israel, they are heroes. Hizb Ut-Tahrir said that they are heroes. They also said that Hizb Ut-Tahrir is an anti-Semitic. Okay, these are the two main reasons. Now, anti-Semitic, they could not prove any. They could not prove it. Where is the proof that Hizb Ut-Tahrir is an anti-Semitic? And see, the government wants to make any criticism of Israel, not any criticism. They want slowly to stop any criticism for Israel by threatening people that once you criticize Israel openly and strongly, then you might be labeled as anti-Semite. Hence, you have to be careful not to criticize Israel that much, okay? This is one thing. And by the way, once we say anti-Semitism, that needs to be defined.
Yes.
What is the legal definition of anti-Semitism? This is number one. Number two, when they said that Hizb Ut-Tahrir endorses terrorism by calling those who were involved in October 7th heroes. Now, okay, if one of the members of Hizb Ut-Tahrir have said this, not the entire Hizb Ut-Tahrir, then that person should sit before a court. And what does that mean? Maybe he will charge as committing maybe a criminal offense, but not to say that they are all should be classified as a terrorist group. Even calling this as a criminal offense, this needs a legal due process, and we have to have a balance between freedom of thoughts and also criminalizing someone for his ideas or for his thoughts. This is also, they say that, well, Hizb Ut-Tahrir members, they were chanting jihad, jihad, jihad. Now, is now jihad. We see it in the Quran. Yeah, Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned jihad so many times in the Quran, whether jihad as a resistance, as a physical resistance, or jihad with thoughts. But the word jihad is a legitimate Islamic term, and the meaning of jihad is known that it includes any struggle, whether physical or non-physical, against the enemies of Islam when they commit certain crimes against you. So that you cannot use that as a reason for proscribing an individual or a group as a terrorist organization. Otherwise, later on, you will criminalize all Muslims. And this leads me to the third point, which is, where are they going to stop? So now it is Hizb Ut-Tahrir, okay, a non-violent organization. Then they will go to any non-violent organization that disagrees or criticize the government's policies. So they will go to Jama'ah Islamiyah, for example, in Pakistan, because they say, well, Jama'ah Islamiyah have endorsed terrorism before, maybe against Pakistan, because they have their own ideas of jihad, etc. They might just find anything. They might even criminalize Daybandi movement, because Sheikh Taqi Uthmani, he's a big figure, or he's the biggest figure of Daybandi movement. He endorsed Hamas recently when he was talking about, in a convention in Pakistan. They will even criminalize Sufis, because so many Sufis are supporting Palestinian resistance, or maybe supporting Hamas. So, they are supporting a terrorist organization, so we need to criminalize them. They are supporting Hamas. Now, see, you will end up in criminalizing all Muslims. All Muslims. And this leads me to the fourth point, which is, now, if the government behaves like this, now Muslims will feel alienated, and there will be polarization. The Muslim community in one side, and the government or the policymakers in one side. And this polarization is very dangerous for the society. And Muslims will lose trust. And they will say, well, the government is against Islam. They are using Hamas as a to cover their hatred of Islam. And they know that the entire Muslim Ummah, they are supporting the legitimate Palestinian resistance. They know this. No one, they can't see this. Okay? Then are they going to label the entire Muslim Ummah as supporters of Hamas? Now, if Muslims feel this, then Muslims will feel that, well, see, this is a proof that the British government hates Islam and Muslims, and they want to criminalize Islam and Muslims, but they are doing it in a subtle way. So this is really quite dangerous. And see, we have to say that the British government is one of the best governments in the world in terms of fairness and in terms of following the rule of law. And we want to maintain that, because if that is not maintained, then the government will become a form of dictatorship, intellectual dictatorship, and this kind of dictatorship will not allow the right infrastructure for the government to flourish, for this country to flourish, and the polarization will pave the way to internal conflicts and mistrust between different communities within the British society. So that's why it is quite dangerous. These are 4 points. If I may add the fifth point, I know I took long time, but the fifth point, which is, it is a very deep intellectual point, which is the relationship between what is ethical and what is legal. Okay? Now, is everything that is ethical should be legal? Is everything that is legal should be ethical? And it seems that the policy makers in non-Muslim countries are unable to have a just formula, a fair formula to judge that, to judge the relationship between anything that is legal and anything that is ethical. And of course, Islam provides the solution for that. And Allah Jalla wa Ala commanded us to establish justice. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله. And Islam wants us to have that balance. Okay, I'll give a simple example. You know, the other day, one brother asked me about sending his father to the care home. Yeah? So now that is legal, to send your father, the elderly father, to the care home. But is that ethical? It is not ethical. Yeah? So now, if it is legal, does it mean that it should be ethical? No. Okay? Even disturbing someone in the street, it might be within the legal framework, but it is not ethical. Okay? Drinking alcohol, it is legal, but it is not ethical. How to treat neighbors. Sometimes you are dealing with them according to the law, but that doesn't mean that it is legal. Similarly, ethical. So we cannot say that everything that is legal is ethical. Now, what does that mean? Okay, maybe there are implementation of Sharia. Here in this country, there are certain elements of Sharia that are already implemented. Even the court, the judicial system is already implementing some elements of Sharia. Okay, why? Because Sharia is based on justice, and there is a good level of justice here within the judicial system. And as we said that, Allah Jalla wa Ala commanded us to establish justice. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله. And Allah Jalla wa Ala says, إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان, etc. Now, there are some elements that are not legal, elements of Sharia that are not legal in this country. Now, do you want me to feel that those elements that are illegal here, to believe that they are unethical? This is impossible. Now you are infringing the people's freedom of thoughts, of belief. Okay?
Thoughts and belief, yeah.
Thoughts and belief. You are infringing into that. Okay? You are interfering into their own belief system. Yes, maybe they cannot. There is even if they want to call for something that is illegal, that is not illegal. Call for something. It's challenging the legal system. It is not illegal. Okay? There are certain laws maybe that they are not implemented, and we want them to be implemented. So are you going to criminalize me because I am challenging the law and I want to change the law? If that is the case, then there is no need for the parliament, there is no need for consultation, there is no need for voting, there is no need for the right to dissent, because the whole purpose is for people to recommend, to suggest, to call for some elements that they believe that they should be part of the legal system. So anyway, this is a very deep discussion. The point here is, okay, if we don't believe, if Muslims don't believe internally that the Palestinian resistance is or are, maybe because there are different groups, are classified as terrorist groups, They don't believe that the Palestinian resistance in general as a concept is part of terrorism. Okay, this is the belief of Muslims. Now, are you going to criminalize that belief? Okay, just because you want you deem that to be illegal, you want it to be unethical as well? This is a big problem.